Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. During the last part, I covered 4 Virusamid levels, so in this part, I'll hopefully cover at least 5 or 6 more Virusamid levels, starting out with this one, Da Enchente Maré by Lipatio, with 18 plays and a score of 2. And when translated to English, it roughly means from the flood to the tide. And we have Metal Man for some reason, so let's see what this water stage has to offer. And we have Dive Man's team as well, and we have a pipe, so definitely a water stage. Hopefully it's not a challenge level like their last 2 stages were, because I covered 2 of their previous stages before, and boy, their first one was quite painful to go through. But hopefully this stage by Lipatio is a bit better, or Lipatios. I don't know how to pronounce it, my apologies. A lot of octopus batteries here. Probably should be using the perfect freeze for this situation. Or stuff like the windstorm would help too, because it can shred through these enemies. Maybe not. Oh, but I can NATO cross everything. Unfortunately, there's a Sniper Joe just waiting here. Just need to take care of the Sniper Joe and then take care of the top man over here, or Neo Shotman. Oh, no. NATO time. This is the perfect situation to use a NATO. If I wasn't careful, I would have died over there by jumping into the spikes. Now to take care of all these lyrics and Pukapellis of different variations of colors. A little bit of odd transition over there. I mean, the scrolling getting unlocked here. So a little bit points reduced from design in that regard for the odd transitions or sudden scroll unlocking. It should have been a bit looser over here or a bit smoother of a transition. But I guess we're climbing up this waterfall now. Of course, I could always just use the NATO in order to make some of these climbing segments a bit easier. And when the screen unlocks makes it a little bit of a stuttery feeling, or it feels less professional than it usually is. Still, at least the stage is fun, and I do like the progression of climbing up this waterfall. Thank you for saving me, NATO. This time I gotta be more careful with my positioning so I don't fall in the pit again. I got distracted by those Coltons and the waterfall. Probably should take care of the Coltons first before I climb upwards. That should do it. Okay. That's not really what I intended to do, but I'll take it. I didn't mean to bounce right through all of these gyro platforms. I believe gyro platforms are the official name for these falling platforms. What would happen if you ran out of NATO energy for this section? I guess you would have to farm all of those enemies. The Coltons. Oh, I should have held left more over there. That was my fault for not paying attention. Though the blue spike kind of camouflages in with the blue background, unfortunately. Well, that's one way of climbing up this section a lot faster. But now time for the tough segment, the NATO segment. Oh no. I'm running really low on the NATO energy here. Thank goodness for a checkpoint. You're really squeezed tightly in terms of NATO energy over there. There were at least 5 failures off screen that happened, either because I embedded myself in the spike, or I ran out of NATO energy. So this is definitely becoming a challenge level / special weapons oriented stage. Yep, definitely becoming a challenge level. It's not too bad, the previous segment was tougher, but I would really like to have some extra special weapons energy after expending all the NATO energy. Yep, this stage has officially become a more precision-based challenge stage. That one jump alone took several attempts to do correctly. After all, I've repeatedly stated that I don't exactly like playing the more precision-based challenge levels of this game, or rather the more difficult ones. The previous section was fine, it's just that one jump that caused problems for me. That segment was really nerve-wracking. It also caused 5 more deaths. As I said, this is definitely becoming a precision-based challenge stage, more on the difficulty side that is outside my preferences, unfortunately. If it was a bit more on the easy side, I would have liked it, but because of jumps like that one, more so for the segment with that 5 column high spike jump, well, it's tanked my fun score. Somehow I got on my first attempt, but I'm usually really bad at those. At least it was a bit easier than the previous set of challenges. It seems like the stage's difficulty is going up and down, it's not consistently going up, or even has relief points, it's inconsistent. Oh no. Let me guess. Yeah, I have to do it this way then. Unless... I have to fight a buster only, and not jump high enough to embed myself in the wall. How wonderful. That's one way of making the fight against Metal Man more difficult. Well, as long as I stay solid and focused, it's not too bad, especially as Metal Man can only fire one metal blade at a time if I keep him stuck to that particular pattern. Oof, this stage. It started out pretty nice, but once we got to that 5-block high column of spikes, the stage went down for me. The last section was fine, the enemy challenge in between was also pretty fine. But once we got to the areas specifically with the 5 height of spikes, and then the area with the waterfalls you have to jump so you don't end up falling into the abyss below or skewing yourself on the spike, the one with all the screw bombers, yeah, that brought down the stage for me. But as I said, it's more of a case of differing preferences, so my apologies Lipatio, I can't really give this a thumbs up. Second on the lineup is Busca do Templo, Escondido do Faraó by Lipatio, 8 plays and a score of 3. This roughly translates to English as In Search of Pharaoh's Hidden Temple. And of course it's going to be a Pharaoh stage in a desert. Ooh, nice background as well, I don't recognize it. Let's hope it's not as difficult as the previous level, which started out fine but then became out of my preferences in terms of difficulty. Oh goody, a power muscler. Or a power muscler. Oh. I see. Well, that's one way of getting extra jump height in order to make the jump. Clever. Otherwise, that would be a pain to do if we were doing it buster only. It is doable, but it's quite difficult to squeeze in between all the spikes, though. The stage seems to be a bit easier following that one jump, because that would be really difficult buster only. Oh, wonderful. Temporary platforms that are falling. Gotta be really careful so I don't get hit off the platform by all these snake enemies. I was gonna do some surfing just to be safe because I can go above all the spikes. What just happened there with that snake? Did it just fall into the abyss? That's really strange. Stay away from me, Tento or Tekento. That was a really scary jump there. Getting sniped by all these snakes isn't really helpful. You really need to be on your guard for the stage so you don't get knocked into the pit because of all these sniper snakes. I'll call them sniper snakes because of how dangerous they are. At least there's a checkpoint right over here. But that was a really hectic segment. Whereas the previous stage focused more on, well, obstacle-based challenges with spikes and the walls, this one's focusing more on enemy-based challenges. How do we... Oh. Of course. I should have known. I was half expecting there to be a wall of spikes on above. Judging by previous experiences. Okay, the oil slider segment. Now we need to jump over all these spikes at proper angles. Honestly, this is an easier segment in comparison to the previous spike jump. I should have not slowed down and jump off. Well, I can actually slow down the oil slider sliding by just holding left. What just happened there? As I was saying, I can slow down the oil slider surfing by just holding left. Which I probably should have done there so I could have made the jump. Like here, for example. And unlike Charge Kick, it doesn't waste any extra special weapon energy, so it's wonderful. So I can do stuff like this. At least there's a checkpoint right before the segment, in case you repeatedly die. I made it this time. Although I kept dying uncomfortably many times off screen just after the checkpoint where we had the spike jump over those gyros/falling platforms. That's... I don't know what to say, it's more of the engine's issues with spike hitboxes. Guess it's time to bounce everywhere. Are there gonna be any snakes? Nope, just pure platforming. Now we have the snakes. Well, at least there's some areas to cool off on if it becomes... I didn't realize the oil slider bubbles despawn that quickly. I thought they would take a lot longer. Well, I guess we learn something new every day. At the very least, it's a fun gimmick stage. At long last, I passed that segment. Well, that challenge wasn't too bad. It was a nice, fun deviation. So let's see what this pyramid has to offer. That previous segment would have worked a lot better if the collision detection between the oil slider and the killer missiles, or rather the toss spin and the killer missiles, worked a lot better. Or was less glitchy, because I died at least 3 dozen times off screen. Oh well, as I'm going to say the same thing as before, level designers should take a note of an engine's limitations and design the levels around it, not the other way around. Which is kind of sad because I like this stage design more than the previous one. It's more enemy-based challenges. Oh, I see. That's clever. Let's try doing this a different way, by using the oil slider. And yes, the oil slider allows us to pierce right through those big fish enemies, which is wonderful. Plus we can double jump right off of it. Alas, we're at the boss fight against Faraó. Let's take care of the big fish first. Or rather, all of the snake enemies. Or we don't, we can just stay over here and constantly just fire at Faraó. We could do that as well. After all, Faraó is an easy shot from here. Alas, that's the end of In Search of Pharaoh's Hidden Temple. Another challenge-based / special weapon-oriented stage like the previous one, but I like this better because this focused more on enemy-based challenges. So I will give it a thumbs up, but it was really hampered by the fact that the engine didn't play well with some of the toss spin jumps, especially with the killer bullets, and some of the big snaky or petite snaky bouncing, unfortunately. Plus there was that one segment which I kept repeatedly dying on a gyro platform directly next to a spike, right after the second checkpoint, unfortunately. The second or third one. Due to the engine's limitations, it brought this stage down for me. It would have been a 6.5 or 7 out of 10 if the engine didn't cause issues, but because of the engine limitations, it brings it down to 5, unfortunately. Still, I give it a thumbs up for its potential design, so keep up the good work, Lipatio, and please take note of the engine's limitations more in the future. We all make mistakes. Third on the lineup is It Cutman, but Now It Easier, by MegaMan 2407 with 12 plays and a score of 1. I'll be covering 3 of MegaMan 2407's levels in this part. We start out in a boss corridor, I think. Wait a minute. This is the boss corridor from Cutman stage, so that means we fight Cutman immediately, but instead of there being guts blocks at the bottom, because we don't have guts blocks in this engine, we have the Thunder Beam. Or should it be the Elect Beam, actually? Well, okay then. But of course, Cutman's main weakness is the Mega Buster, it seems. Well, that was a really short stage. And this was the easiest stage of this part. Or the last 3 parts, actually. Especially considering the last 2 challenge levels, this was a nice breath of fresh air. But of course, it was so simple and there's not really a difference to the boss fight that I can't give this a thumbs up. It's just too simple. Let's see. Fourth on the lineup is Mega Man beat Time Man but then suddenly travel into the future, with 12 plays and a score of 1. Another really short stage, because we're fighting Fairman now. Just immediately for some reason. Oh, and because we fought Time Man in Mega Man 1 or Mega Man Powered Up, we don't have the charge shot. So we need to fight Fairman the normal way. Let's see if I can do Buster only without dying. It may throw off my timings for stuff like the fair wave though. But especially with the time slow, Fairman is a cinch to beat. Especially when he's stuck in place like this after recoiling from the fair wave. Well, that's one way of ending a stage. In fact, because of this, I'll be covering 2 more levels from Mega Man 2407. That from above beta version and then version 2 to see what differences there are. All of these seem to be really short stages. Oh, at last, we actually have a stage that is congruent in some way instead of being just a boss fight. We're riding on all of these footholders, trying to survive as long as possible, and we have access to a lot of special weapons. We really didn't need that. I mean, having all the special weapons breaks the stage. Maybe just give us access to one special weapon. This could be taken a lot further and made a lot more challenging. Well, suddenly this got a lot harder. Plant barrier time. I didn't expect the big fish to make their appearance. Well, thanks for the M-Tank. I don't think I need the E-Tank. Ouch, that was really close there. There's a checkpoint, so I will restart the checkpoint here because I really need it. But of course I lost access to the footholders. Well, this is neat. Now we have all these blocks that we need to destroy in order to progress onwards. With Oil Slider I can increase my jump height. Well, I guess it's time for Rush Jet. The sign told us to use Rush Jet anyway, so it makes sense. Time to face the boss. Nope, the stage just ends here. I would have liked to face the boss somewhere. Oh well. At least there is an actual stage to go through instead of abruptly ending. So let's see what difference version 2 is from version 1. And let's hope we can actually fight Iceman. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Ah yes, a secret E&M tank. And a quick way of ending the stage too. I think the original stage also had a quick exit over here, so let's try doing it the normal way this time. Once again, I really need to go to a stage that well utilizes the Oil Slider's new gimmick, that being you can increase your jump height, or movement speed, as well as the fact you can effectively double jump at any time, but you will throw off the oil slider glob though. We saw that a little bit in Search of Pharaoh's Hidden Temple. You know, time slow is a bad idea here because I need to stay on these footholders. Seems to cause some odd interactions of movement too. Wait a minute. Sadly, Magnet Missile is weak as always. Now time for the big fishes to go along for the ride. I really don't need that, so I'll just keep it there. I really want the checkpoint. Let's see if I can keep the footholders for as long as possible. Because otherwise, outside of these segments, this stage is really on the below average side. If it could take its footholder gimmicks further, maybe include a few more screens, this would be a pretty interesting stage to go through. But right now it just feels like unfocused. It feels like it's the start of a full stage in the future. I get the feeling you are not intended to go through the segment with all the footholders. Yeah, you are definitely not intended. Can I make it in time? Nope. Away it goes. Not much of a loss though. I could end the stage over here, but I want to go forward further. After all, I really want to see what the fight against Iceman's going to be. And judging by the stage's difficulty, I really don't need that M-Tank. Or should I say I don't need that E-Tank. And there come the footholders back again. It'd be really interesting if you had to go through this entire stage without using the rush jet, and instead had to rely on your special weapons and the footholders. That'd make this stage a lot more interesting. Alas, it's time to fight Icemen. Oh, green force beams. You know, all these footholders make this fight a lot easier. Especially because it glitches out Iceman's pattern a bit. Alas, that was the end of Dead from Above Beta version 2, or rather version 2. It's currently the favorite stage out of the 4 I played for Mega Man 2407, but I would like to see the concept focused on and taken further, because it's really unfocused right now. 7th on the lineup is All Bosses in One Room, Not for Slow Computers, by That Dangerous D-Pad, 130 plays and a score of 26. So it was pretty well rated. And it's quite an older level judging by the level ID. Yeah, it was released about 4 months ago. So let's see what this level has to offer. I get the feeling, judging by the name, we're going to be fighting all the bosses in one room. Thanks for the E&M tank. Of course, the only way possible of doing this is by using a text editor to edit the level to add multiple bosses. Well, thank you for all the special weapons, I guess I'll need it. Although I think I only need to kill one mint boss. Yep, here are all the bosses of the engine. Yeah, this is completely crazy, and each Roadmaster has their own health bar. Well, this is gonna be a thing. What would be my best special weapon? Probably Crash Bomber, but I need to figure out whose weaknesses are which, because they are probably different. Or perhaps they're maybe the same, I'm not sure how the settings work. This set of bosses is missing Time Man and Iceman. Maybe an update can add those two bosses, that'll be really interesting to play around with. Oh yeah, the Thunder Beam is a pretty good option, I think. Question is finding who's weak to what. If I run out of my M-Tank, I'm going to have to restart the stage. It's not too bad though. Who's the weakest? Oh. Yep, I need to restart the stage. This may take a few attempts to figure out who's weak against who, because I need that E and M tank. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, retry time. You know, the lag in between starting the stage is a little bit worrisome. Apparently, if I retry like that, I don't gain access to the E and M tank again. This is definitely an interesting boss rush stage, and I will give it a thumbs up, although it's mainly for the chaos more than anything else. Well, I guess I'll work my way down through all the special weapons and figure out which one's best against each Road Masters. Nope. Rolling Cutter. This is gonna take a few attempts to figure out which is which. I would assume Crash Bomber would be the best for hitting groups of enemies, but it doesn't seem the case. Firestorm? Nope, Firestorm doesn't seem to be it. Metal Blade? Someone seems to be... okay. Metal Blade seems to be doing quite a number on Toadman, I think. Okay, good, now I need to survive for long enough. I won! I just needed to kill one Roadmaster and I was successful, and I think I was able to almost kill Napalm Man. I'm not sure if they have their own weaknesses because I tried using the Metal Blade against the other Roadmasters, but only Toadman and Napalm Man seem to be the most affected, so perhaps they all have their own separate weaknesses. Still, that was a really unique stage, although it probably should be updated to add Time Man and Iceman. There are a whole bunch of boss tag team things they have. Maybe I'll cover that in a future part, that'd be really interesting. The 8th and final level of this part is Glitch, A Bizarre Journey by Pirata Patheta, with 147 plays and a score of 60. So this is the best scoring level of this part by a huge margin, and it was only released about a week ago. Something to do with a bug, I suppose. And... oh. That's one way of fighting the hot dog, I assume. I wonder what other glitches will be appearing though. That'll be fun to see. I guess that's why this stage got really popular and... well, this is going to be a glitch-oriented stage showcasing how the engine can bug out a lot. Well, this is going to be fun to see. Yeah, I definitely see why this stage became popular. Normally that would kill me, but I just glitched through thanks to the Cossack platform. Or was that the concrete platform? I think it's concrete. Well, we don't usually play stages that are focused on the engine glitches, the more funny ones, instead of the more frustrating ones. So for that alone, I will give the stage a thumbs up. This also probably became a trending level too. So congrats on having a big hit, Pirata. It's usually really hard to become on the trending list. I believe this was on the trending list last week, although I didn't check. It's really hard to get there and requires quite a bit of luck, as I talked about before in a previous part, or a previous few parts. This is definitely a nice send-off for this viewer submitted levels part, that's for sure. Oh, I probably need to do it the other way. Still, I'm not complaining at all with this stage, this is just a joy to see. It doesn't really exactly fit the good Mega Man level design in a traditional sense, but it definitely fits the fun category in terms of exploiting the engine's more funny glitches. Oh, I see, I need to be on the top platform and then slide there. Well, there is certainly some challenge coming now. Clever. Oh, I see what I need to do there. Thank you for putting the nice picture on the right side, which I failed to notice in time. I'll definitely showcase / share this level with other people. This is really fun to look at. Very, very clever. Definitely my favorite level of this part. Congratulations, Patheta. You've traveled quite far, or progressed quite far with your level design ever since you started submitting levels to me. Bravo. Time to fight Nightman and... Well, this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Okay then, apparently killing Napalm Man freezes Nightman there. That's another funny glitch, I suppose. Definitely giving this a thumbs up. Favorite level of this part, and probably my favorite level for a bunch of parts to come. It's a really nice glitch-oriented level which showcases how funny you could exploit or how funny some of the glitches in Mega Maker can be. Mega Man Maker, I mean. My apologies. So my honorable mention in this part would probably be all bosses in one room. It also pretty funnily showcased how you can place all the bosses in one room, and how each of them can have their own weaknesses. I would like to see that gimmick taken further for an actual legitimate stage instead of it just being a boss rush. Maybe in version 2 add in Time Man and Iceman for extra chaos. And perhaps give another E-Tank just for a safe measure. I would also give an honorable mention to In Search of Pharaoh's Hidden Temple, but because of the engine's constraints and oddities, I honestly can't give it to it. It just became too frustrating because of a few choice segments. So in the next part, I'll be covering a whole bunch of more viewer submitted levels. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!